Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Business Book Cafe, where you're going to learn from fellow authors what's working for them now to leverage their books for sales and profit. You're bound to find new ways that you might be making more money with your books, too. I'm your host, Cindy Carruthers, also known as the Beyond Book Sales Coach, and today I am thrilled to welcome Stephanie McPhail. Stephanie is the author of a book that was actually issued 2 years ago today. She mentioned she's seen all of the anniversary stuff on her Facebook page. And it's titled it is Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt, Recognize and Overcome Toxic Relationships so you can live your best life now. And that's available in book and workbook. She is the CEO of Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt, where she helps successful women end the cycle of unhealthy relationships so they can create their best lives. And she's here to tell us today, or talk with us today, about the topic of clients waiting for you, how she leveraged her book to build a large Facebook group of potential clients that helped her build her business. So welcome, Stephanie. And I'd like to start off by asking you why you wrote your book.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on today. And I'm excited to share, because those of you who haven't written a book yet, do it. It's not as scary as it seems. And we're going to talk all about that. But basically, the reason why I wrote my book is because it was a calling. I mean, it was literally, I didn't feel as if like, ooh, this might be fun. I kept having this feeling, this pull that I had to write it. And basically what it is it's my story. I shared my story of being, 15 plus years from one toxic relationship to another one until I finally was able to end my first marriage, where he strangled me on my wedding night and I stayed for 5 years. I was major transformation, major aha moments. And I realized that I had to share that with other people, because I couldn't be the only successful woman who was not successful in relationships. And I wanted to inspire others to realize they didn't have to stay trapped, and they also could really create a life that they were happy and excited to wake up to every day.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned that you'd been successful in so many other areas of your life, and yet you still went home and were told that you weren't successful, that you were not worth it, basically. So this is a story that I think, even though we may not be personally in that situation, we all know someone who is in a relationship that is not supportive and uplifting. So this kind of book is probably very helpful. And I know you have quite a number of programs that you offer that support and encourage these women to grow and recover and live their best lives. So thank you for writing that for everybody.
Thank you. It was actually a number one new release in codependency when it came out. So that was kind of cool too. That was an added bonus. I was like, oh, my first book, and it's a number one new release in codependency. Like, yay.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's very exciting. And you've parlayed this book into creating kind of a groundswell for your business. Mm-hmm. So why don't you tell us about how you went about that? Did you plan for that from the beginning? What steps did you take? Talk to us about that.
So this is something that I think is really important. So I actually had a private Facebook group already. There was about 3,000 or 4,000 people in it. And it was not as active as I was hoping it would be. I thought there would be, be much more popular. And one of my friends, who's a really well-known coach, he said, listen, you need to write a book, because that's going to give you some more expertise. You're going to have more views. People are going to pay more attention to you. And I said, I was scared. And so someone came to me and offered me a book deal. They said, hey, we're doing a book where there's going to be you and like 25 other authors. You have to pay $1,000, and you're going to be a number one, author. And so I told my friend, and he's like, nope, don't do that. You're making somebody else famous with that book. You create your book so that you decide how you want it, and then you can use it for what you want. And there was that part of me inside that was like, oh, that is so scary. Like I knew he was right. I knew I had to write a book. I knew I had to share my story, but the thought of writing it, I was like, where do you start? What do you do? It was very, very overwhelming. But once I made the decision, it was the decision, okay, I'm going to do it. Now I just have to figure out how I'm going to. So what I did is, and you can make this as easy as you want. If you're already having a presence online, you can easily pay someone on Fiverr. Fiverr is a low-cost company. It's like, I mean, much cheaper VAs and things like that, copywriters, editors, all that kind of stuff. And I actually had someone just write out some of the videos that I had done. So they just transcribed a bunch of my videos. Then what I also did is I kind of did a talk to text of like anything that came to mind. I just did the talk to text. And so I just had to get the ideas out on paper. And then once it was out on paper, and so again, I took it one step at a time. So like, okay, now the stuff is written down. Now I have to make sure everything makes sense. So then I had to kind of reorder things, move things around a little bit. I had other people look at it. Does this make sense to you? Then I had an editor to edit. And then, and then once each one of those steps was taken, then I'd figure out the next step. Okay, the next step, get a cover produced. So I went back to Fiverr. I have a really great person who does my covers. So I found her. She was great, very inexpensive to do that. Then I found someone to help me actually upload it to Amazon. Amazon is a great way to get a book out there without having to pay all the other fees that you have to pay, and without without having to give the money away, because you're not making tons of money on the book sale itself. What you're getting from it is the expertise level that you have from writing a book. And then all of a sudden that's where it comes in. So I get pennies coming in every month. It's like, oh, Amazon sent me, whatever amount of money. It's like $4 a book or $3 a book. I'm not going to get rich off of that. But when my clients see that I have a book, and that if I'm, someone wants to do an interview with me for television or for summits or for podcasts or whatever, she has a book, it automatically up levels you to that expert level. So definitely, if you're on the fence about doing it, it's not as hard as it seems.
Well, it's interesting to me because when we were talking about this interview and I said, how should I introduce you? And you're like, well, I've got a couple of degrees and I got this and it's this. And it's like, but you don't have to put all of that in there. Mm-hmm. My response was, yeah, because you wrote the book. And I know that gives you that instant credibility. It gives you that instant authority. You don't have to go around telling people what you've accomplished, because the book does it for yourself. So I'm chuckling with that because, yeah, it works. The book gives you that credibility. So you had the Facebook group. What do you do with the book to help grow your Facebook group?
So right now, the name of my book, the name of my group, I should say, is Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt. So the full name of it is Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt, Codependency, Healing, and Healthy Relationships. So it's all the things that we do. And so, when people are in these toxic relationships, love hurts. So when they're in the current unhealthy relationship, or they've just gotten out, they're going onto Facebook, they're looking for groups to get some support. What my group happens to be one of the most searched groups because the keywords are right. And that's something that if you're going to start a group, first of all, start a group immediately, write your book and start a group. Mm-hmm. And make sure that the words that you're using are relatable, searchable. Like you can do Google searches. You can see like what actual words that your audience is using. Use what your audience is using as their words. If you do that, then automatically you get ranked in the search engines much more quickly and much higher up. So because Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt, someone sees that, they're like, oh, I know what she's talking about. Yeah, love has hurt for me. I don't want it to do, And so I'm pretty much up there with the group for Codependent No More, which is like the Bible for people healing from codependency. It's the first book I ever read about codependency. And then right underneath is my group. Mm-hmm. So that to me really says a lot because it's very active. There's a lot going on. And what I do is when, first of all, there's the picture of my book in my group. And when people make an appointment with me, they actually pay for an appointment with me to get my book and workbook and have a 30-minute consultation with me. So as people are coming in, what it's great about is that they're getting to talk to me, but they're also getting my book and workbook. So they're going to know a little bit more information. And it also kind of like weeds out some of the people that just want to have a conversation. Like some people just want to it's like fangirl, like, oh, I want to talk to Stephanie, which is sweet. And I like that too. But
flattering.
Yeah. But when they actually have to pay $30 to be like, oh, I get to talk to Stephanie and I get the book and the workbook, it gives them that more incentive to actually start making forward steps on healing, which is what I want them to do anyway. So I've been really using that as a way to leverage my business, having them do that. And then of course, our business, between the group coaching and the one-on-one coaching and things like that, the information is there in the book. It's like the questions of what you need to do. And then coaching with me is the how. It's the support that you need to take the guesswork out. You get some great ideas from the book, but then they need me to be able to really up level.
Yeah. And I want to go in so many different directions from this conversation, but we also really want to keep this short and impactful for everybody that's there. Couple of things that came to mind. This work your book is a compilation of and an extrapolation and adding to of work that you'd already created. So it's like you said, it's the what to do. It's not the actually the implementation. How long did it take you to write your book?
I would say that by the time, I did have, this was interesting. So the first person that I did hire was not great about doing the work that I asked them to do. So if you're seeing that someone is not doing what you've hired them to do not feel badly about ending that relationship with them and starting with someone else, because she was just going really slowly. And since I had never written a book before, I was like, why is it taking so long to check my punctuation and reorder things to make sense? I don't know why it's taking so long. It's not a super long book. And I realized she just wasn't, she kept having excuses, like she was sick, whatever, all sorts of excuses. Once things actually started moving the way they should have, it really only took about maybe 2 or 3 months. Okay. The hardest part was just deciding to do it. That really, honestly, it took me months and months to just, should I not? When I finally decided I'm going to do it, then I hired really the wrong person. And then once I got it, because I think I started in January and it came out in the beginning of May. But again, that first 2 months didn't even really count because she wasn't doing what she needed to do.
Yeah, well, it's all part of the process. It's all something that's learning. Was there anything that happened during the course of either writing or marketing or using the book for growing your Facebook group that happened that was unexpected? That surprised you?
Yeah, well, this is actually interesting. So because I have this expert status, I actually had gone to a fundraiser. I've been invited to a bunch of really interesting things as an author, which I think is really cool. I've been able to do speaking events and things like that. But I went to this event for a fundraiser for breast cancer awareness, and a guy came up to me and said, oh, I love interviewing authors. I want to interview you for my show. And it's called Chapters Wrap. It was all about interviewing authors. So I said, okay, cool. So we did this interview and he was like, oh my gosh, that was so great. People loved the interview with you. Do you want to come on my show? So I went on his show. And then after that show, he was like, oh my gosh, that resonated for so many people. Do you want to do a show together? And I said, okay. And so we started doing a show that now actually airs on cable in Long Island and lower New York area every Monday at 6 p.m. So that show now goes live. But so not only was that really cool, but because of that connection, I got to interview Denzel Washington.
Oh,
which I never thought was on my bucket list. But now that I've done it, I was like, that was cool. I would have who am I to interview Denzel Washington? It was awesome.
I could see where that would surprise and delight you, because it would certainly surprise and delight me. Okay, well, we're gonna wrap up very, very shortly. But before we do that, I have 2 questions that I ask. And the first is, if someone wanted to get started doing what you're doing, besides telling them to to stop agonizing over it, because we mentioned that we go in our heads and it's really hard to get going. Is there another piece of advice that you would offer people who maybe want to start a Facebook group, who want to try to grow it, who want to write a book, a piece of actionable advice for our listeners?
Well, here's really what I think that is important to remember. You have a story to share, and your story, and this is actually, it kind of will add to what you asked before. Me sharing my story of abuse and what I went and overcoming has inspired so many other people to overcome the abuse that they have dealt with. Now, yours doesn't have to be abuse. It could be, you know, leaving a toxic work environment. It could be, you know, your exercise, you know, dream, like whatever it is. Sharing your story and your struggles makes you unique. Stop telling yourself that what your story is really doesn't matter, or it's not that important, or doesn't need to get out there. People need to hear what you have to say. And once you start just openly speaking from the heart, you're going to be amazed at the amount of people that are touched and inspired by you just living your own life. So stop agonizing over it and just do it.
And very, very good advice from that standpoint. You mentioned that you have it's not really a free gift, but you would like people to offer to join your Facebook group, to learn more about your topic, to find out more about what you're going on. If you want to tell people a little bit about that, I'm going to drop that link into the comments below the video. It's https://www.facebook.com/groups/being loved shouldn't hurt, no apostrophes, no nothing, /. So it will be typed in the show notes or in the comments below this. But Stephanie, while I do that, why don't you tell people a little bit about what they get from joining your group, why they would be interested, and what the benefit to them would be?
Sure. So maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's for someone that you know, that you love, who's feeling very isolated and alone from dealing with this toxic relationship. It could be romantic. It could be a friendship. It could be, you know, any type of toxic relationship. And, you know, if you're the outsider watching, it can feel very frustrating to know like what to do for that person, to know that they're kind of wasting their life in this toxicity. If you're in it yourself, we often lose our friendships. We lose who we are. We don't know who we are. We're just trying to please this other person. If that is you, or that resonates for you, or someone that you know, definitely join the group, because we specialize in helping people just like you stop that cycle. So if you're currently in it and you want to get out, or you're already out of the situation, but you don't want to ever repeat it, because that's where we see a lot of that happens. It's not just one unhealthy relationship. We repeat it over and over again in other areas of our life. If you want to stop that cycle, every Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my husband David and I do a live show with free information for anyone who wants to come and watch us live. If you can't watch it live, you can watch the replay. So it's a really great place, a great space, because not only do you get that free resource, but there's also community. So again, it's a whole bunch of other people that understand what you're going through, and a community that can support each other to move forward.
Okay. And you mentioned that you use this Facebook community gives these people the support. And then if they want to take it a little bit further with you, you offer any number of programs, from the one-on-one calls you mentioned with a copy of your book, through a hybrid program where they get some training. Talk just briefly about that, the couple of levels of services, programs that you offer.
Sure. So if someone wanted to work with us, and they, you know, because again, we can read all the information, but we can't get out of our own head. So the biggest thing we need is support. And again, as an expert, you get to share what has worked for you. And for me, like now I've been doing this for a few years, what has worked for my clients. So we have a 12-week program that is a hybrid of daily accountability, curriculum, weekly coaching. So that's intensive, and that's like the quickest results. Then we also have one-on-one coaching. So if somebody needed a session with my husband, David, they can get a session with him, or a session with me. I also have a video course, which I actually took from my workbook and created a video course from it. So just another example of how you can use your writing for other things. So I created a video course. That's called From Codependent to Independent. And then I have mini accountability sessions. So people can just have little check-in calls with me to really stay on track. So there's really, you know, if someone's looking for help, they can start as simple as getting my workbook and starting to work on themselves, all the way towards getting 12 weeks of like intensive, you know, group coaching from my husband and I. So depending on what they need, we can help them wherever they're at.
Okay. Well, it's a wonderful program, I think, that you offer, and way that you've gone to go about it. You've shared a lot of good ideas today. I want to thank you very much, Stephanie, for being with us and being so generous with the information that you are providing. I also want to thank everyone who's watching today, whether you're live or whether you're actually not today on the replay. I'm reminding everybody we are going weekly on this show. So every Friday at noon, you can find me here with someone, an author, who will share with you what they're doing to market their book or profit from their book or grow their business, spread a message with their book. Books can do so many things as an author. It opens so many doors for you. If you're interested in being a guest, please send me a message and let me know. I'd love to have you on, and let other author friends tell them about us so that they can join here and find out what's working for authors now to market and profit from your book. This is the Business Book Bistro, where you can learn from those other authors things that you can do yourself to profit and grow from your book. I'm your host, Cindy Carruthers, signing off now and wishing you much success with your book. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Stephanie, for being with us. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.